Hello guys! As many of you have been asking in the comment section about this build, how it works, etc. I'm gonna release this guide about Paragons, talents, and all the abilities that you need, and most importantly all the stats that you need to let your minion works, because if you don't have the right stats, your minions will die instantly from any sort of AoE damage. But if you have the right stats, they stay pretty much healthy, they don't die so easily. So sit down, and this is gonna be a long video. I'm gonna cover everything I can about the build, the stats, and the Paragons. Now let's go directly into the gear. For the gems, I mostly use rubies on the pieces of gear, because they give maximum life and it's very good to stay alive. For the weapons, I'm using the emeralds, because this build is mostly focused on vulnerability, and that's when the emerald comes handy. And I'm using the diamonds for the jewelry, but I'm thinking about replacing the diamonds with additional rubies, because the fire damage seems like to be a big issue, especially for pets. So I'm still trying to figure out what is best, but I think I will replace ruby on the jewelry too. About the legendary aspects, I'm using the blizzard from the skeletal mages on the head. It's a really good ability. It throws all the elite packs, and I do additional damage on frozen targets, but we will talk about it later. And overall it's good for CC and adds some damage to your pets, so I'm using this one. For the chest, I'm just running for the increased number of skeletal mages. There is an argument here when you can swap the skeletal warriors with the skeletal mages, so you have 6 skeletal warriors and 6 skeletal mages. But I find that the skeletal warriors, even though they do less damage than the mages, are much better against the elite packs with suppressor, which is a really big problem, because it negates totally your damage from your skeletal mages unless they get inside the bubble, and it's really hard to do, so I just stick with more skeleton warriors. For the hands, I use the Army of the Dead. It's a big cooldown, it makes your pet it's like super fast, and that's about it. For the legs, when you have 7 or more minions, they gain 20% increased damage reduction. It's just a super ability for minions. It's really good, and you should use it. Now for the boots, I'm currently using this one because I didn't find any boots that I like. Plus this one and have 23.8% move speed. And when you evade, you are granted with 60% more move speed. And that's a lot, believe me. They leave behind a Trail of Frost, and you also deal 8% more damage to shield enemies, and that's why I use Frost Mages, mainly because this damage is multiplied, so it adds up really a lot. For the weapon, I have imprinted the Bone Spear, because this build is all about vulnerability, and Bone Spear spam, it's the most consistent vulnerability you can have on the game, and it lets your pet eat like a Trax, really. For the jewelry, okay, for the neck, I just use the skeletal warriors. You can swap this if you want, but for me, I go for 7 warriors. For the rings, this is one ring that makes the build works, because you have 20% chance to empower all your minions, and they do this case 14k damage roughly, but this damage gets multiplied by every other ability you have that increase your damage. I'm gonna explain you later what it means, but sometimes I see my minions hit for 60, 70k, and that come from this ring. For the other ring, we use a simple ring that increase the damage again from the minions. After they stay alive for 10 seconds, they get a boost of damage for 29%. For the legendary focus, another minion buff. Every time they hit an enemy, they gain 14% attack speed, stack ups to 42%, that's pretty much it. For the Book of the Dead, I use Skeletal Warriors. The skirmisher, when you crit every 3 seconds, they do a critical strike that deals 50% bonus damage, and they really melt everything they have on them. Plus they are 7, so they crits all together and they smash everything. For the mages, I use the cold mages with the ability that lets me generate essence when they hit an enemy. For the same reason that we want the Iron Maiden, we want to keep spamming Bone Spear. So you basically have two choices: or you use these skeletal mages, or you use this ring that give you 10% chance to generate in my case 44 essence when you are hitting an enemy vulnerable. But I don't like this because the damage from this ring is really a lot added on pets, so I use the combination for the skeletal mages that generate essence when they hit an enemy. These ones also are very good, makes enemy vulnerable when they hit something that is frozen, but sometimes when you have certain abilities around the field, they cannot hit, so it's a wasted talent, and I don't like it. For the purpose of the build, I use the one that makes me generate essence. For the golem, we use the iron golem with the slam that makes enemy vulnerable, and it goes for itself. This build is all about vulnerability and damage from pet during vulnerability. So having the golem that makes enemy vulnerable, it's the best choice. I'm gonna explain to you why your minions die very fast, because this was happening to me also, and it took some time to figure out why the minions were so squishy. If you look into your materials and stats, you will see you have under the defensive tab minion life bonus. This stats, it's so important because this ability, Bounded Essence. Your minions get heals for a fixed amount no matter what they have in HP. And this always takes in account the maximum life of your minions. So if my minions have, let's say, 100 points, and I use this ability, they get heal for 60, okay? But if my minion have 1000 HP, they get heal for 600. This stat, minion life bonus, adds up dramatically. From the pieces of gear, they have maximum minion life. I don't know how the formula works specifically, but you see here I have 68.5 minion life bonus. If I have 2 pieces of gear, they have maximum minion life. Look, just I go to 218. This means my minion life is double, okay? Since they have a fixed amount of life based on your level, the amount of life is double, but also it's double the amount of heal they get from the last skeleton you summon with the ability Rise Skeletons. So you have to look for pieces of gear, they have maximum minion life. It's really simple if you think about it. The more life your minion have, the more they're gonna stay alive, the more time you have to heal them. I think it's possible to reach 300, try triple the life of the minions, but I'm not sure, to be honest. I have to dive deep into the gear a little more. But let me tell you, once you have 200 bonus, they don't die anymore, because they tank so much damage, and with one single heal, you heal them for 60% life, and they go up to full in 1 second. So if your minions are dying quickly, check these stats and try to boost it with pieces of gear. So let's go very fast on the talents. I use Decompose with the runes Enchanted Decompose and Acolytes Decompose. I don't use this ability very often, but sometimes if I must have shorts on Essence, and this let me recuperate it very fast and also enhance the damage that your minions do. Bone Spear with enhanced Bone Spear and Paranormal Bone Spear. You with Flash, it's a really good ability. It lets you basically spam corpses on free. Skeletal Warrior Mastery, since this is a pet build, you want this kind of talents. I use Grim Harvest to generate essence from corpses, since you always are rising skeletons and heal them. This will let you recuperate essence. I use Iron Maiden. Why? This is a strange ability, but I find it working really well with this build because these two enhancements. Basically, Enhanced Iron Maiden lets you remove the essence cost, and also you gain 5 essence when you curse an enemy. This is good because you want primarily to spam Bone Spear to do damage and lets your enemies get vulnerable. So let's say you find a big pack of mobs. You start by spamming Bone Spear until you finish your essence. You hit them with Iron Maiden, everyone. Iron Maiden, thanks to this rune, give you back your full essence, and you keep spamming again. Then I'm using the Serration, Compound Fracture, Evulsion, just to add up some damage to the Bone Spear. For the last 3, I use Golem Mastery, Army of the Dead with the 2 runes that improve Arm of the Dead. This one lets you resummon everything you have. If your armies die for whatever reason, you just resummon everything instantly. Then everything to help the minions stay alive. Blinded Essence, that's Defense, Hellbent Commander, and Spirit Leader. Enhanced it. It's not very easy to keep it up always, because sometimes you get damage from ranged abilities, etc, etc, but if you can keep it up, it's very good. Let's dive deep into the Paragons, which is the most important thing. You wanna start here on the right, take the Fist Rare node with the 20% damage increase, then go up and your Fist keystone, your Fist glyph here should be the Skeletal Mages. Why the Skeletal Mages? Because this page have a lot of intelligence normal nodes. What does it mean? It means that once your glyph is upgraded to 15, you get access to all these intelligence node, and this will increase your damage from the Skeletal Mage drastically. So work on this glyph, make it level 15 by doing a Nightmare Dungeon, and stack it here, because this is the page with the most intelligence nodes in the range of the glyph. So your next page should be the one with all the improvement on the minions. You place it this way, and the first thing you're gonna get is this node here, this ray node, minion armor, 80%. It's not very much, but it helps, and mostly the 10% minion maximum life. Remember before we talk about minion maximum life, that's where this node is worth, for the 10% maximum minion life. Then you get minion life, minion armor, since you have to cross here, you have to get this point, minion life again. You don't take these two because 4% armor is pretty much nothing. Then you go here, you get the cult leader. That it's the legendary node of this page. It's insane. It adds up lots of damage to your pet. You go top and you take the minion damage with all the raid nodes around. They are all good, so you don't skip anyone. You go back, you take this one also. Increase your skeletal warrior damage by a lot. Additional skeletal damage. Skeletal warrior armor 3.2, it's worth taking. Warrior damage and warrior damage. You can take this one, but for the moment I prefer to save 1 point. Maybe later I will put 1 point here. You go top, you take Infuser Caster. It does the same with the skeletal warrior, but for the casters. Go top, and this is where the important thing kicks in. This glyph. I'm still working on this glyph, and I need to raise it to level 15. Actually, it's like level, I don't remember, let me see. Level 13. Once I hit level 15 with this glyph, it will unlock all these raid nodes, and they will be added to this glyph socket. It basically helps your pet stay alive and boosts the damage. Also, the second ability, it's a really good multipliers, and you see it mostly on elite packs and on bosses. Once the multipliers is at 12, they do insane amount of damage. So you really want this glyph, and you want to put it here because it's an intelligent glyph, and you have 40 points of intelligence pretty easily here. But also because once you unlock it to level 15, this magic node will be added to the glyph, and it will be a lot of boost in terms of damage and survivability of the pets. Now for the next page, you want to get the one with the legendary node Flesh Eater. I've been trying this glyph with the pets, mostly of the Golem, but it seems like it's not working. I had my Golem hitting for around 1.3k, and when I spawned the 5th corpse and use it, it was still hitting for around 1.3, 1.4k, and so I think it doesn't work, but I have to check better about it, or maybe it's a bug, I don't know. You want this page because this glyph, this skeletal warrior damage. Why you want this specific page? Because this range have the most of the normal node with dexterity. So you adds up a lot of damage. They get 15% increased damage for every dexterity node in the range of the glyph. So this page is the most with this dexterity node around. And as you can see, I have 132 skeletal warrior damage. It's quite a lot. Then you go here. You take the damage to injured enemies, then the critical strike damage, 12.5% damage to injury enemies. This is all good. You can save these points and don't get them. You can go straight top, but I think 50% damage to injured enemies is quite a lot. Also the requirements, it's 340 dexterity, so it's quite easy to reach. And once you are here, you just go straight forward for the last page, and I'm showing you what I'm gonna get in the last page. Now for the last page, we go for the Golem, since this is a pet build, so we have to boost all the Golem damage. I'm still not sure how to rotate it, because I have to check the points, but I made a rough calculation, and once you are here, you will be left with around 82 points, and they will be enough for get everything you need with the Golem. You start here, go down, you get the Frenzied Golem. It's a really good raid node. Then you move top, you put down the glyph. Here you want the glyph that increase the golem damage for every point in willpower. Then you take this raid node here, gold armor. I'm still not quite sure because I see the golem, it's really good at surviving, so I don't know if this node is necessary. I have to try it with the Higher Nightmare Dungeon. I still don't know for this one. For sure you want the mutation, golem damage, all the golem damage you can get. Then you go down here, you take damage while golems are active. So this is a bit of speculation, okay? For the ones of you that played Diablo 3, if you remember, we had a ring, that splits the golem in 3. And I see this raid node saying damage while golems are active. So I don't know if Blizzard is planning something, but this is just speculation. But I think we will have a legendary that lets you summon 3 golems like Diablo 3. This raid node, again, I think it's good, but I have to test it. Anyway, the points are enough to go up here, getting Alchemy Monstrosity, which is the best legendary node of the page, or all pages, because the golem, it's very, very hard, especially the Iron Golem with the vulnerability effect. It really, it's like a truck. Then you go top, you get Flesh Horror with all the nodes. I think they are good, but still we have to check for the Nightmare Dungeons and Nightmare Dungeons at the end level, how much damage the pets take before we get this glyph. And then you go here and you get the Infused Golem following the path. This is one of the best. And you pretty much finish up your Paragon nodes when you're here. I've already counted them. They're 82 if I'm correct, and they are enough to get everything. And basically you finish your Paragon nodes with these 4 pages. You don't get anything else. There is an argument for not getting this page and going into the one with the Boar Spear damage and vulnerability and such, but the Glyph Socket doesn't have many points in dexterity, so you lose a lot of damage for the Skeletal Warriors. I have to check about it better. For the moment, this is what I'm using, and it works very well. Now, for the purpose of the video, let's do a dungeon nightmare level 30. And you will see the build, how I played, and how it works with the talent that I choose.
I need more time.
And let's see what we have here. Mobs will... okay. You see the damage from the pets when the vulnerability kicks in, quite insane. Also Bone Spear do lots of damage. It's really handy when you have to focus down things like goblins or certain things that can kill you. Always remember to get the gems. Something is being data mined that we will have high get tired of gems. So remember to get them always. Protection Shrine. Yeah, let's just spam. I'm popping the Armor of Death just to make quick work on the elite parts. Oh, we do have return the bloodstones. Okay, we have to travel all the dungeon finding the stones. Sorry guys, I'm not very good at talking while I'm playing. I'm one of those guys that just do things instead of talking about it. That's why the channel is focused more on game movies and things like that, because I'm not really good at explaining what I'm doing. I just do.
I'm out of essence.
Basically, you're just running around, spamming Bone Spear, make the enemies vulnerable, and let your pets kill them. Ouch. If you can stay between your pets and the enemies, you're pretty much immortal as long as you keep healing your pets and spam the Bone Spear to keep everything vulnerable. You see the damage, it's quite insane. I find the Golem doing lots of damage. I can't wait to get the page with the Paragons for the Golem. I think he will do an insane amount of damage. Where do I have to go with this stone? I guess here. Lots of damage comes from Bone Spear also, that's why you wanna have the mana and the ability to spam it. Gonna die? No. Now, here is where your pets usually die against the Ardent affix. As you can see, my pets stay really healthy, they don't die, because I have that increased health bonus. And with one Bone Spirit, I can pretty much pull them up and they don't die easily or fast. So it's quite easy for me to keep them up all the time. I've also had a lot of issue with the Ardent debuff. It was killing my pets very quickly until I figured out that the more HP they have, the better they are. Because you don't rely only on the damage for the pet, you also rely on them for staying alive, and so that's why you have to take care of them basically. Now, where there? Oh, okay, found it. I'm not really sure if I did this dungeon already, to be honest. I mainly focus on the Paragons this week. I have to do all the quest thing to get the 4 Paragon points at the end of the campaign. It was insane, really. It took me so much time to do that. So I started to do dungeons like 2 or 3 days ago. Meanwhile, I've been working on the build and everything else. Travel to Shambles Vern. Okay, we just have to travel. Tell me. Okay. So we have the boss already. Okay, let's go. I'm gonna show you how fast this build kills a boss. Look when the damage kicks in from the pets. And there we go. This one is trash, as usual. I never find anything good. Okay guys, I thank you for watching the video. If you have some questions, let me know in the comments. I will help you as best as I can. And see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching.